A straight white dude that likes Trump but is only into liberal women is a lot like being in the closet, because it's like they're going to ask you about it eventually and you have to say what we all say, which is yeah, I don't really follow politics. Not that hard once you get used to it. You just like lie a lot.
These guys are beginning to expose themselves by doing content about this whole thing. They're beginning to say the quiet parts out loud. Because tell me the reason why someone would set his camera and start saying something like this, just spilling the truth. But it's so good for them to spill the truth so that liberal women will know what their plans are. Yes, so guys, you're welcome back again to the channel. So good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking when you saw this video. So in today's video, conservative men are lying to liberal women about their political views, okay, or what party they belong to. They are not saying the truth. They're saying something different from the truth, okay? And most liberal women are falling for it. So let's go check out what other creators are saying. Then we'll come back and we'll talk more about it.
That right there is why anyone who says, I'm not into politics, you are absolutely into politics. Everyone has political opinions. If you lie to get someone to sleep with you, that's not a consensual sexual act. Now is it? Now is it? Also, these guys are really easy to see through. They're not good at lying. They'll say, I don't care about politics. Even if that were true, that's enough. You say no. You swipe left. If they don't say leftist or liberal or whatever on their profile, if they do not specify, you swipe. If they don't say that they believe in the same things as you, if they can't keep up with the conversation, leave. Do not give these men your time. Ask them a specific question about leftist policies. How do you think prison reform could be achieved? See them choke up. Don't just allow them to say, yes, I believe in the same things as you, because they don't. It's shitty and it's disappointing and it's infuriating. They're not getting your time. They're certainly not getting sex. Like, just do not give them anything. If they're not into politics, if they're moderate, if they're Republican, if they check other, no. It's a no. They are actively political or bust.
It's really easy to find videos like this on this app.
Yeah, it's actually not true that every guy that you meet just happens to be the perfect masculine, but also liberal, pro-Palestine, perfect human. They're making that shit up. I do this. Guys, if you are a man on Tinder, if you don't make shit up and you don't pretend that you're liberal, you'll get no play, period.
I'm married to a raging pro-Palestinian leftist, so this is not a problem for me. But a lot of women are coming forward telling their stories of men who lied about their political views in order to date them. So conservative women can say this all they want, but this is the reality. Conservative men are complaining about the fact that liberal women don't want to date them. If they wanted conservative women, do you think they'd be complaining about liberal women not wanting to date them? Do you remember the Date Right Stuff dating app? It was launched so that conservative men and women can go on there to find each other and find love. I remember learning about when the reviews started coming in and how men were complaining about the fact that there weren't any women on the app. Like this review. I love my country. I love the Second Amendment and I love God. These days, it's hard to find a woman who values my patriotism, my faith. And so after being ghosted by every match on Tinder, I decided to give this app a try. I created my profile, uploaded a selfie of me sitting in my truck with sunglasses, and it worked great. The interface was intuitive and easy to use, but the weird thing is I couldn't find any women on it. So they can say this all they want, but they're just projecting. It's just projection.
So I want to take a moment to talk about that guy who's all over TikTok right now saying that he likes liberal women, but he's a Republican, so he lies to them and tells them he doesn't really follow politics. He's just not all that into it. I feel like I have a unique thing to add to this conversation as a woman who's lived in red states her entire adult life. And let me start off by saying that frat brother Rufalin is 100% correct, with a few caveats in saying that plenty of right-wing voters use that phrasing in order to disengage from politics political conversations so they don't have to out themselves. I'm honestly a little impressed he was able to state that with such eloquence and with his whole chest. It's honestly probably the first time a woman's ever been impressed by anything he's done, let alone something that requires a bit of intelligence. But here, in my opinion, there are actually 3 types of people who say that. And realistically, if you are a left-leaning voter or somebody who votes harm reduction, you shouldn't be dating any of them. So the first group of people is exactly what Twat Waffle over there is talking about, Republican and right-wing voters who want to be insulated from the consequences of their actions. So rather than facing that we have ideological differences that are too vast to be able to form any sort of genuine connection, would rather lie. They use this thought-terminating cliche in order to disengage so they don't have to face the consequences of their actions. But hey, like, we know they're shitty. Let's talk about the other 2 groups. Now, the second group of people are people who vote like I do, which is left-leaning for harm reduction based on the harm principle, right? The kind of people who on the ballot seem to be good people, but they don't want to have to deal with confrontation outside of the ballot box, right? They are the kind of people who would rather say things like, oh, well, I don't like how divisive politics are, or would completely avoid that conversation altogether than ever actually stand up for marginalized groups. In other words, their allyship is conditional on how convenient it is for them. If the only place they are required to show up is the polls, then they're fine with that, but they're cowards, and we shouldn't be dating cowards. Now, last, and in my opinion, the worst of all 3, though of course that's totally subjective, are the people who genuinely mean it when they say they don't really follow politics or they don't really like engaging in political discussion. They're just not very political. And the problem with these people is that they have a privilege, but not just privilege they've never bothered to dissect, interact with, and understand how it insulates them from a lot of the drastic effects of policy. Not only are they stupid enough to not recognize that everything is inherently political and politics impacts every part of every person's lives, but because the consequences of their indifference will never directly face them on any severe level, they just don't care. These are people who do not give a shit. They don't care about marginalized communities. They don't care about women. They don't care about POCs. They don't care about disabled folk, queer or trans folk, the impoverished. They literally just don't give a fuck because it doesn't impact them directly, which they're selfish. You shouldn't date selfish people. So this is why I think going forward, people need to stop dating people who say, I'm just not that into politics, or I'm really not all that political. Because at best, you are dating someone who just does not give a fuck about anything that doesn't impact them. And at worst, you are dating somebody who actively votes against marginalized communities. Like, all of these people are inherently selfish on several different levels and just shitty in their own way. And so I think we can all do better. And just to be clear, if you're one of these people and you want to go in my comments and get very uppity, just remember, a kicked dog howls, okay? I think going forward, we all just need to stop allowing people to disengage from politics and saying shit like, I really just don't like being political, this thing that literally impacts every aspect of our life, some more than others, obviously, but that genuinely needs to be paid attention to by every single person. Indifference is not an option. So y'all have the day you deserve.
Why is it that conservative traditional men look for strong, independent women who are progressive and liberal? This is from Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. The way my mother always explained it, the traditional man wants a woman to be subservient, but he never falls in love with subservient women. He's attracted to independent women. He's like an exotic bird collector, she said. He only wants a woman who is free because his dream is to put her in a cage. Patriarchy is all about dominance. To dominate something or someone is to fulfill the highest order of patriarchy. To be a man means you have dominated, you've won, you've controlled someone or something. And especially for Christian men who are taught that to save someone, to convert them, to save them from themselves is glorifying God. And most young boys are conditioned to have this dream of saving the damsel in distress. I will save her from the dragon. I will slay the dragon and rescue the princess, and she'll love me forever. And her dragon is herself. And I need to change her and save her from her liberal, dangerous ideas. And there's an intersectionality to this too. I mean, patriarchy loves dominance. Christianity loves converting people and changing them, even if it's against their will. White saviorism, whiteness loves saving people. And men just love being above women. They love a woman who needs them, who's dependent on them to be this big, strong man. So instead of finding someone to date and marry that you are compatible with or that you work well with and pair well with, men will go out and find women that they can change. And they need to be incompatible with them so that they can capture them and get them under their rule and control. Which is why you hear these stories of strong, independent women who find themselves, wait, I never wanted to get married. How am I never wanted to have kids. Why do I have, oh my gosh, who is my husband? Why is he listening to Jordan Peterson all the time? It's because he lied to you. Because he needed to dominate you. He needed to win you and convert you to patriarchy, I guess. That's the game that a lot of men are playing. And that's what it means for men to win that game.
Melania Trump coming out and saying that she believes in individual freedom and a woman's right to choose is a perfect example of a conservative man attaching himself to a liberal woman in order to control or not respecting her beliefs in the first place. That's not to say that when Trump and Melania met, he also wasn't for individual freedom or like pro-choice, because he was. He changed his stance on abortion in order to gain popularity, which is typical for the Republican Party because they've used abortion and decided to use abortion as a token to gain votes and to make it a polarizing idea. It wasn't always like this. But if we are running with the logic of her coming out and her saying, he's always known this about me, and yet he still wanted to be with that woman. He married that woman. And I just saw a clip of him saying that women should be punished if they proceed with abortion. Does that mean he also wants his wife to be punished? And if that's the case, he doesn't respect her. Yet he married her because he wanted to control her. Or thought he could, but he can't. And that's why Melania is so interesting, is that she doesn't really allow him to control her. It looks like he is her pawn, which I absolutely love.
Beliefs on men at your own risk, because these days most men lie a lot, especially when it has to do with politics. Just because they want something from you as a woman, they kind of lie about their political views, knowing fully well that politics nowadays causes, indifference. It causes issues between two persons, and that's why they are lying about their political views or their political status. They'll kind of say, oh, I'm not really a political person. Just like someone telling you, oh, I'm not really a football fan. But most times you just find them watching, glued to their TV watching football. Some of these guys are, so whenever they tell you that they're not political, please check very well. You'll find that they are lying, or they may just be lying. You just have to be careful, okay? You guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I'll be here to read from you. Please do well to subscribe to my channel if you have not already, okay? And don't forget to give my video a thumbs up so that more people can see this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys on my next video.